What's up everyone, Cloverbells here, back with another Scarlet Violet team building video, and today we're taking a look at Kingambit. And once again, this is a tier 3 request to the channel where you, the viewer, are able to do a team building session with me, and then I show you how to build a squad. I show you how to do all the EVs from scratch, and then we test it out a little bit, and then I give you like a general template, a general formula, so this way you can build the squad yourself. And what was requested by the viewer was a Kingambit squad, a Kingambit Balance squad, right? And again, this is one of the 10 cores that we said was one of the best in the format right now. And if you haven't seen the other 9 best cores, be sure to check out the video on the channel. That's a couple of videos ago. But again, if this is something you're interested in, if you want to build a team with me, and I'll show you how to build a squad properly for best of 3 tournament stuff, or maybe even just something for ladder. That's a tier 3 sub to the channel. It's in the video description. I'll also put it in the comments, but you're definitely able to book a session with me, and then you can DM me on Twitter, or you can DM me, more importantly, on Discord, and then we'll organize a session, and then we'll go ahead and start building a squad in a one-on-one call. All right, but anyway, without further ado, so this is Kingambit. So Kingambit's one of the new Pokemon in Generation 9. It's one of my favorites. Generally, Pokemon like this are always going to be one of my favorites because they're so bulky. They have a great attack stat, and even though their speed is so low, that's actually a good thing, because then they're able to function in like a Trick Room setting. And it doesn't really have too many wasted stats. Like what you always hate to see is like there's a good amount of attack and a good amount of special attack. And sometimes that's kind of bad because you're only going to be using one kind of attack stat, whether it's be physical or special, and then you could just technically take all those base stats from that, like a non-used attack stat, and then just put it in your bulk, right? You wish they would do that, but sometimes that's not always the case. But in Kingambit, it is the case. So obviously this is going to be a physical attacker, right? We're not going to be really using the special attack. Really good. And you can see base 100 HP, base 120 defense, very bulky, and 85 special defense is actually pretty okay. That's actually not bad at all. It's a little bit above average, right? Which is what we like to see. So it's going to be a very bulky mon, and generally, you know, with balance, typically when I like to do balance stuff, I like to put it behind the screens, right? Along with the couple of VGC cores, the Fire Water Grass and the Dragon Fairies too, right? So again, if you just want my template, there'll be a timestamp in the video where you can scroll down there and I can write up the template. You can follow it and then make your own kind of Kingambit squad. But I'm going to show you 2 versions. This will be one version. We're going to test it out, and then after that, I'll apply the template. So this way we can build a second squad that pretty much is more or less the same thing, but just has like different Pokemon choices depending on what you like to do. All right, so let's just go ahead and continue, and we'll get started here in building the squad. All right, so here we are. We're going to Kingambit here, and generally, again, like I said, I like to do it behind screens with Grimmsnarl. So this is definitely going to be coming on the team. And again, if you follow me in the Sword and Shield era, I use this thing to death. I just love setting up screens, hiding behind them, and then just dealing damage right back. And what that means also sometimes is you're probably going to end up giving up speed control a little bit, but that's okay. In exchange for speed control, you'll obtain bulk. So you'll be able to take those hits even though the opponent goes first, but then you'll just deal damage right back. And then they're going to have a harder time breaking through because you have your screen set up, right? So we have a steel type, we have a fairy type, right? So we're going to be setting up the screens, of course. Before we do even like the movesets and the item choices and EVs, we're just going to like build the squad first, mon by mon. And then over here, typically, you know, you want that dragon type, so this way you can fulfill the fantasy core, Dragon Fairy Steel. And in this case, you have a couple options. You could do Hydreigon, you could do Garchomp. You can even do like even Dragonite to an extent. I think that's a little bit weaker. I think one of the two, either Garchomp or Hydreigon, is better. For this build, we're gonna use Garchomp, okay? And then we'll use an alternate build with Hydreigon at a later part of the video. But here we are. So Garchomp's really good. It's one of the common dragons right now. You know, just Earthquake spam stuff. It just hit both targets. It does really well. You know, Kingambit being weak to fire types, Garchomp can pressure those right back with ground type attacks, right? So it's really nice. And then Garchomp in exchange, you know, being weak to dragons, being weak to ice types, you know, Kingambit and Grimmsnarl can help you out there, right? In terms of like defensive pivoting. So really good there in terms of like synergy with the fantasy core. Then from here, we need a Fire Water Grass core. So typically I do like Rotom on Garchomp teams. Whether it be Rotom Heat or Rotom Wash. for this kind of build, we're going to go Rotom Wash, and you'll see what our fire option looks like in a second. But anyway, the whole idea with Rotoms and Garchomp is they have good synergy because you're able to Earthquake next to them. Just because Rotom has the ability to Levitate, you're not going to be able to take ground type damage. And this one is a little bit more situational, but if you want, you can also go for like Discharge Earthquake combinations, where you can Discharge next to Garchomp, and in turn Garchomp can click Earthquake, so you have the Disquake combination going. I've decided to steer away from this just because sometimes it's just not as consistent. If you don't have other options that can also safely be next to a Discharge, Gardevoir is actually really good on teams like this where you can also Discharge or Earthquake next to it. So, but there is no Gardevoir this time, so I feel like we're just gonna go a standard Rotom set here. But anyway, so that's our water option. It's also really good against like rain teams. Those Palafin, Pelipper rain teams are rising. Pelipper, Dreadnought, Pelipper, Beartic. Rotom's really good into those just because you have like electric damage pressure, and they're not running Raichu right now. So, for now, Rotom looking really good behind those screens. And just against other flying types in general is also really nice. If you think of all the steel types that right now are opting for Terra Flying, the Rotom can pressure those with electric damage as well, right? So good option here for Rotom, especially behind screens. And then from here, our fire option, we're gonna need something for Dondozo, right? Because right now these guys are they might be able to do it behind screens, but it's gonna be a little bit tricky. I would just like to have an easier option, an easier answer for it, and especially like stuff like Meowscarada and other grass types running around, like even Amoonguss. Having a good fire type is always really nice. And we're gonna go with Skeledirge here. So with Skeledirge Unaware, you're just able to not care about those Dondozo buffs, and you can just really pressure it and just like put it in out of position where you can just force that scenario where it's just like Skeledirge versus Dondozo. And the trick is, if you're going with the Terra Grass option, the Dondozo water type is just not going to do anything to you. And then the Torch Song spam, you can get it to the point where then you just pressure with Shadow Ball and you can just finish it off. Or even like Terra Blast is also really nice if they don't Terastallize themselves. But either way, Skeledirge is really nice, especially behind Grimmsnarl screens. Again, this thing is also relatively bulky, just like Kingambit. Again, not a real wasted stat. Like 75 attack is what, we don't need it. So we're obviously going to be special attackers, right? Very good HP, very good defense, just like Kingambit. Special defense, not too bad either. 75, this one's 85. So, within the same category. A little bit of an awkward speed here, but it's actually really nice with a different kind of build that we're going to show you at a second point in the video, in an alternate build. But here's your Dondozo check. All right, and then our last slot, we're going to need a grass option. So, we do need something a little bit better in the Trick Room games. I feel like it's just really nice to have, and also redirection support to maybe, go for setup plays with either like a Swords Dance if you like it on Garchomp, or a Nasty Plot over here, or just to try and get up to the screen safely. Just the Amoonguss is also really good here. With the Regenerator, of course. Okay, and again, with Clear Smog, which it will run, it's just something else to have against Dondozo, because sometimes Skeledirge is just not enough. It needs a little bit more help. The Amoonguss can also do that. And again, it just gives you like another Trick Room matchup, against those NDD Armor Rouge stuff. Now, granted, the Armor Rouge can go for like the Terra Grass option, but again, this is why you have the Skeledirge on your team, right? Good fire option. So this is it. Again, Dragon Fairy Steel, Fire Water Grass. This is one kind of variant. Again, this is my template. And again, we'll write it out for you on a Google slide like we did in some of our other videos, just so that you have it written down. But yeah, this is the team comp for this first version. So let's just go ahead and reveal the GIFs. We got Kingambit, Grimmsnarl, and Garchomp. Here's your fantasy core, and then your Fire Water Grass core. It's going to be Skeledirge, Rotom Wash, and the Amoonguss, right? So now what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the Kingambit here, and we're going to start doing the movesets and the item choices for all of them. And then eventually we'll do the EV spreads. All right, so let's get down to it. All right, so let's go back here to Kingambit. So basically the three moves that we're gonna have as like relatively strong staples here is, of course, our steel move, Iron Head. Very nice option here. Kowtow Cleave. Okay, it doesn't check accuracy, so of course, just base 85 reliable damage. It's really nice. Sucker Punch, again, you don't have speed control on your Kingambit. So priority Sucker Punch, especially if you're going for like Terra Dark, is actually really strong. And then this last move here, so this actually will depend on your item. If you're gonna go with the Assault Vest variant, then obviously you're gonna have like another attacking move here. But if you choose to go for something like either Lumberry, which has good merit because of like the burn stuff, the paralysis, the freeze, or the sleep stuff, actually more important, the burn and the sleep stuff, then the Lumberry is gonna be relatively helpful. Then you can just go for Protect. If you go for the Black Glasses, I feel like the same idea, you know, Black Glasses with like Terra Dark, just Protect is actually really nice. So there's that. But we're gonna go with the Assault Vest variant here. I want extra bulk on my Kingambit just so that I can take extra attacks better in terms of like heat waves from like Volcaronas or Skeledurges that are rising. Well, heat waves from Volcaronas, Torch Songs from Skeledurges. You know, these are all things that I'm worried about as a steel type. Okay. And because of that, I think the Assault Vest has good merit. And then you're just adding like, then you're just super bulky and you're hard to break, right? So there's that. Then in terms of the last move here, so this is something that is also kind of cool. Again, with the steel types, I said, you know, a lot of them are opting for like the Terra Flying option just so that they can avoid getting hit by the Garchomp stuff, whether it's your own Garchomp or even like an opposing Garchomp. And I think it makes a lot of sense here just for like in terms of team synergy. So if you have Garchomp as your dragon choice, then I think Terra Flying makes a lot of sense here. Because again, remember, Kingambit's weak to fighting types too, right? You're 4 times susceptible to it because you're Steel Dark. So if you can just opt for Terra Flying, then go for Terra Blast. You can already counter those fighting type Pokemon, and then, or even just like resist it in general, even if they're not a fighting type. And then, you know, just hit him right back with a Terra Blast. And again, you get that synergy with Garchomp. You know, if you have both of them out on the field, Garchomp can go for the Earthquake, and Kingambit is kind of safe, you know, next to the Earthquake. So like really, really good synergy here with Garchomp in terms of this. If you had the Hydreigon, I would go with another build. And again, that's in the later part section of the video where we build a second version of this team using, again, the same template, just different Pokemon. That one featuring Hydreigon. But with this version, with Garchomp, I think Terra Flying makes a lot of sense. All right, Grimmsnarl. So again, in like previous Sword and Shield formats, Light Clay was really good just because like you can do like Dynamax stuff where you're able to go for Light Screen and Reflect, and you're able to just have prolonged turns of screens. And that's also not bad here, you know, just because you're able to take those Terrestrialize hits a little bit better, you know, because it's extra damage, especially if it's like same type Terrestrialization hits. But, you know, because of Goldango, and Goldango's running around, excuse me, I feel like you got to go the Babiri Berry here, because if they just Terra Steel, Choice Specs, you know, make it rain, they just remove your Grimmsnarl and invalidate it, right? And you kind of want at least one more turn with it, so this way you can get your second screens up, if anything. So the Babiri Berry is actually really, really clutch here, and I've been testing this, and it actually has been. It's actually really, really nice, especially against like Iron Head stuff, or Flash Cannon Hydreigons. It's actually really helpful there. And also just like Scizor, also really helpful, you know, just like these steel types or even these terrestrial steel types, it actually just helps a lot. Even Corviknight Iron Heads sometimes as a lead, because sometimes you'll lead Grimmsnarl, they'll lead Corviknight. Those are very two common leads. They may just ignore the fact that they'll go for tail and just go straight for the Grimmsnarl in the end, right? So the Babiri Berry helps a lot there. Anyway, I digress. Spirit Break will be our stab move of choice. And then over here, it's really up in the air, depending on you, what you want to value. I feel like if you go for Taunt, you know, just to deny Trick Room, deny Tailwind, that's also really nice. Or you can just go for Sucker Punch. Again, double Sucker Punch pressure with Kingambit, you know, just because, you know, you don't have too much options for speed control here. So having an extra priority move helps a lot here. You can even go for other stuff like Parting Shot, you know, just further weakening opponents. This is the new move that it gets, so you know you can always take advantage of that. Believe it or not, Scary Face Thunder Wave stuff is actually still pretty okay, and this will give you a little bit more speed control, and this is actually really nice. You know, the paralysis hacks is always nice, and I feel like people have dropped the speed control move on Grimmsnarl for like Parting Shot, Taunt, or even Sucker Punch, but I feel like they shouldn't do that necessarily, and just, you know, consider the speed control move again. I think it makes a lot of sense. But for the sake of the video, we'll just go with Taunt. All right, we'll keep it there. But again, you're free to choose this last move depending on what you feel is more important. But yeah, I'll leave Taunt here. Garchomp, so this is going to be our Life Orb user. And by the way, this is going to have Rough Skin. Okay, now you can go with the Clear Amulet here. You can even go Clear Amulet on the Garchomp, the Kingambit. But because with the drop of Intimidate being so dramatic, you know, I haven't really seen it. Like, if I were to play 10 games right now on ladder, I would see Intimidate in maybe like 1 or 2 games. And that's not enough to merit the Amulet right now. I can take this risk and go with the Life Orb. So that's still fine. But again, if you feel like you want the Amulet here, you're free to go for it, right? I think it's okay. But I'll leave the Life Orb for now. I like the extra damage. So Earthquake, Dragon Claw, and Rock Slide. 3 attack moves and protect. Very standard set on Garchomp. Again, you're able to, you know, have a stab move, you know, with just Earthquake, just deal a bunch of spread damage. And, you know, Rock Slide, again, spread damage, good against, you know, flying types in general. But, you know, sometimes, you know, there is Wide Guard running around. So you need at least 1 single target move. And, you know, it's good to have a Dragon Stab, just because it'll do more damage on 1 target also, rather than like having to rely on a spread move that maybe could miss. So yeah, Dragon Claw does that job very, very nicely. All right, and then what else was I gonna say? Yeah, this is also okay, Terra Dark. You can also go with like Terra Steel option, you know, just in case your Berry runs out. So I can even put that here. Where is it? Terra Steel, just for like extra resistance after your berry is gone. Then Rotom here. So Rotom, again, you can do Terra Electric with Levitate's really nice. I think a standard set with Hydro Pump and Thunderbolt is good. Oh, that's Thunder. Where are we? Oops. Thunderbolt. Okay, then over here, Nasty Plot and Protect. And then Citrus Berry just for like a little bit of recovery. And if you want, technically, you can put the Citrus Berry on the Skeledirge and then just opt for something else on the Rotom. You could put like Leftovers over here for like a little bit of passive recovery. But over here with the Skeledirge, this is where I'm going with the Leftovers, by the way. But here with Rotom, if you don't like Nasty Plot, if you fear like the haze stuff and you feel like the Nasty Plot is just not cutting it, or it's just too slow for you, Will-O-Wisp is another good option here, where you can just like neuter those physical attackers. And again, if they're not running that Lumberry, it's actually really helpful. So I leave it up to you. But if you want a little bit more damage, and if you have the setup with Amoonguss, or if you have the setup behind screens where you can like take those hits and have the opportunity to set up the Nasty Plot, then definitely go for the Nasty Plot. But Will-O-Wisp is also a very good alternative. All right. Then we go to Skeledirge here. So the Skeledirge, of course, is going to have Torch Song. It's his signature move. You're able to boost your special attack and you know, potentially steamroll teams. Does really well behind screens, of course. You're super bulky anyway, so why not do extra damage behind that bulk? Shadow Ball, single target move, really good for the Goldango stuff. Both of these are actually really good, nice into it, especially if you can take those special attack hits, which you definitely can because, you know, you're a fire type anyway, so it's really nice. Good answer for your Goldango stuff. Then Slack Off. Okay, this is your healing move, and you know, if you're ever in a one-on-one scenario where, you know, you just have to like keep clicking Torch Songs or Shadow Balls and then click Slack Offs alternatively, also really nice. The Amoonguss may fear you and just try and click Spore on you, so Terra Grass is actually really nice. Or, you know, opposing water type attacks from, you know, an opposing Rotom and a Azumarill, those rain teams like Palafin or whatever, the Terra Grass option is really nice. And again, you can also ignore the redirection from an opposing Amoonguss and just go for a potential Shadow Ball or Torch Song, which is also very, very nice. Terra Blast, you know, grass option against those water types is actually really nice. If you just want the defensive typing without the Terra Blast effect, then, you know, I would just go Protect here. So this way you can alternate, you know, Torch Songs and then, you know, alternate Protects, get extra recovery with Leftovers. But if you want that Terra Blast grass option, because you don't really have any grass moves here, we're not going to put on the Amoonguss. Terra Blast is actually really nice. Then finally the Amoonguss here. So actually what's really nice is the Rocky Helmet item of choice. This is going to be good against the mouse holds running around trying to click Population Bomb. So then the mouse holds just end up killing themselves, which you love to see when the mouse holds kill themselves with Population Bomb against your Rocky Helmet Amoonguss. So they have to respect it, and if they don't, then it's just a free KO. But Rage Powder Spore, you know, of course, and then Clear Smog for the Dondozo stuff, just to help out your Skeledirge sometimes a little bit. Also good against opposing Swords Dance, opposing Nasty Plots, Dragon Dances. Clear Smog can just wipe those away. So it helps a lot there. And then over here, you can just simply go with Protect. Of course, Protect is always nice. If you want the extra healing with Pollen Puff, where you can heal like either Kingambit, Garchomp, Rotom, Skeletors, definitely go for Pollen Puff if you feel like you can position better. Otherwise, Protect is just always a safe bet here. So I leave it up to you. But again, the template does not change. Dragon, Fairy Steel, Fire, Water, Grass. You know, the moves is really up to you, depending on what you value and you know, depending on testing what you feel is a little bit more important. But again, it's all subjective, but you do have options, right? So we have all the moves, we have all the items. So now what we're gonna do is just go ahead and go into the EVs. So let's go back to Kingambit here. So let's take a look. Okay, so let's take a look at Kingambit. So mainly, you know, if you don't have any like key damage calcs, right, then all you really need to do is just aim for benchmarks, right, and a little bit of optimization. So with Kingambit, oh, by the way, we are defined, by the way, you know, just because to deter, to intimidate stuff. So this way that protects Garchomp, you know, who doesn't have the amulet. But with Kingambit here, again, just Adamant Nature. You know, just be doing a lot of damage. You don't need to be jolly. You're not trying to outspeed anything. And then from here, I just want to like hit my benchmark here. I don't really need speed. I just need like 1 point. That's all I really need. And then with the attack, again, every 80 EVs will give me an EV bump. And again, with every EV bump, your stat over here, your final stat will increase by 2 points instead of 1 point. So let's see where the first bump is. So as I go forward here, right here, this is the first bump. So you see how you go from 174 to 176. Stat went up by 2 points. So 36 investment is all you need to hit the first benchmark. The next benchmark within the attack nature is another 80 EVs invested. So you'll see it when you hit 116 investment. So 36 plus 80, right, is going to be 116. So you'll see the next bump over here. So let's go ahead and move the bar. 177, 178, so 179, 180, 181, 182, 183, 184, 185, and then remember we need one more to 116. Boom, 187. So you see how you go from 185 to 187. You skip to 186. So this is the second benchmark, and honestly, I can just keep going here. You know, just like another 80 EVs, and again, 116 plus another one, 198. So you see how you go from 196 to 198. You skip 197. This is the third benchmark, and that's really all I need. And then from here, I just want to max out my HP. Generally, like a lot of mons, you know, with like base HP 100, just like Tyranitar, just max it out. 207 is a really good benchmark, just in general, because like it'll optimize, you know, that sand chip damage. I mean, granted, you are steel type, but again, when we are Terra Flying, you can optimize that because if you do the weather chip damage 207 divided by 16, if you just do some math on your calculator, like I'm doing over here, it's going to come out to 12.9. 375, which rounds down to 12 damage per turn that you'll be taking from Sand Chip. If you were to bump this up to 208, it'll be 13, but you know, 12.9 will just round down to 12. So now I have 56 EVs left here, and really all I want is just to have at least just 1 point in defense here. I don't really need defense. I have a whole lot of it. I'm kind of chilling over there. Then the rest just goes into special defense, and what I want to make sure with special defense is if I have an even number here, so this way I get the best bang for my buck with the assault vest boost. Because if I have an odd number here, then it's going to be a decimal after the boost, you know, 1.5, which will round down if it is a decimal. So I want to make sure this is a nice even number. So this way, after the assault vest boost, it's a whole number, right? So let's check that, and it is. So I lucked out here. But if it was something like this, where I'm at 111, then, you know, it's just not quite optimal, not terrible, but, you know, it's just like, you know, it'll give you a decimal after the 1.5 boost. But thankfully, it does come out to an even number. So yeah, a little bit of a special defense investment at the end. Really, really nice. You know, any kind of extra special defense is good, just because it's your lowest of the bulk. So if you can balance it out just a little bit, then that's all you need. And this is our Kingambit spread. No damage calcs here. Again, just all about benchmarks and optimization, which what you want to go for. Remember in my optimize EV spreads video, you know, that's pretty much steps 1 through 3: speed tier, attack stat, bulk, and then number 4 is, you know, a damage calc. But if we don't have it right now, if we're just trying to like build something to like get onto the ladder, then this is all we need. Just hit those benchmarks. All right, Grimmsnarl, same idea here. Again, I just like to put like either 4 or 12 here, just to outspeed other Grimmsnarls that don't invest in any speed. So that's really all I need. And then again, I'm just going to go for the careful nature here. So just way it's a little bit better to take those make it rains from the Goldango stuff. So again, I'm just going to go for the benchmark here. And, you know, here's the first one, you know, 119 to 121. This is really all I need. All right, then from there, I'm just going to max out my HP, 1 point in the attack. We don't really need attack. You know, Grimmsnarl's not really an attacker. And then the rest just goes into defense like this. And that's all you need. And again, by the way, if you don't like taunt, you can just put Sucker Punch here. It's really totally fine, up to you. Or just like some other move here that we showed earlier in the video. Garchomp, you know, again, just jolly max speed, you know, just so that when it comes time to play another Garchomp, you know, at least force the speed tie. You know, you don't want to always lose that speed war. Technically, you can go like a slower adamant build if you have Tailwind on your team, but, you know, we don't really have that, so I'd rather just go for like max speed here. Optimization with the Life Orb, so 189 here, you always want to end in a 9. So this way, 189 divided by 10, you know, with the Life Orb chip, 18.9, which rounds down to 18 damage per tick. If you break the threshold to go 190, now it's 19 damage per turn. You don't need to be taking extra 8 HP damage than you need to, so just leave it at 189 here. Then you have 212, you know, EVs left to play with. 1 point in the bulk, you know, for each of them, and then just go ahead and just max out this attack right here. So relatively strong Garchomp with Life Orb. Rotom, you know, again, with Rotom, you know, you see the base HP, it's kind of bad, but thankfully we do have screen support. And because we have Nasty Plot, I'm not really going to max out the special attack here, and I don't really need too much speed. I think, you know, 107 is okay. You know, if this is under Tailwind, by the way, you outspeed Dragapult, so that's always nice, but, you know, not really relevant here, but at least we have 1 point in the speed here. But I just want to go to modest 116. This is the second benchmark here with Rotom. And, you know, you might think like this is a little bit weak, but again, you're going for Nasty Plot stuff, so, you know, you'll get your damage there. I'd rather just be bulky like this, and then just go for like leftovers in the bulk. But again, if you do want to go for a little bit of speed, you know, you could just do this, just 1 point in defense and special defense, and then the rest just goes into speed. This is totally fine as well, just so that you have a little bit of a faster Rotom. And in fact, I think I will leave it like this just because I want a little bit of speed on my Rotom. You know, even though I don't need too much of it, I think a little bit is okay. And that's our Rotom. Now, granted, that being said, I do want to optimize my Citrus Berry recovery over here. So again, 157 as a whole is just not going to cut it because 1/4 of the max is going to give me a decimal. So I'm just going to go to 156 here just to round it out. And then 1 more point in the speed, you know, just so that I could potentially outspeed other Rotoms generally. But, you know, this is always okay. Now this is a perfect number because if I just do the math here, 156, you know, times 0.25 there. So again, nice whole number. That's exactly what we want. Again, 1/4 of your max HP. So that'll come out to 39 there, which is what we want there. All right, Skeledirge. So same idea. With the leftovers, I want to have optimization with the health bar. And again, I want to hit my benchmark with the modest nature. So that's exactly what I'll be going for. Again, I'll just put 1 point in the speed here. Let's see where the bumps are. I believe it's going to hit me at 154. Yep, 152, 154. So the first bump here is at 76 investment. So then after another 80 EVs, you'll go to 156. So that's generally okay right here, 165. But again, I want a little bit more, you know, because again, I'll be almost maxing out this HP anyway. So I can do this, another 80 EVs, 176. So that's nice. And again, with the HP mark, you know, just to get a little bit enough where, like, if I go to 207, again, this will round down to like 12.9. But again, if I go to 208, because I have leftovers, this will give me a perfect 13. And if you ever doubt the math, just do 208 divided by 16. It comes out to 13. Perfect 13 HP recovery per turn from the leftovers. So that's exactly what we want. Got 40 EVs left over here. Just 1 point in defense. You have a lot of it. You don't really need too much. And the rest just can go here in special defense. Just to round out the remainder of your special defense bulk. All right. And again, the Amoonguss, more or less the same idea. Just benchmarks here. I do like the idea of just being bulky. You know, just being able to absorb those Dondozo stuff. Not special defense here. Just speed. You know, you just need 0 IVs just to be the fastest thing in Trick Room. I do like to go to 236 over here in terms of the investment. This number is nice for a lot of reasons. One, it'll let you survive the maxed out Annihilate final gambit. You'll be left with 2 HP left, which is really nice. You know, And then from there, you also get perfect recovery with the regenerator. You know, just because you get a third of your HP recovery. If you have like 218 or 220, that'll result in a decimal, but this is, I believe, 73. Perfect recovery. Then you just hit the bump here. All right, so where's our EV bump? So let's just take a look here. 1, 12, 13, 15, 19, 21, right? Yeah, here's the first one. And then the rest just goes here in special defense. Just being that very bulky shroom, and that's it. Like, again, there's no damage calcs here. This is just something like all about hitting my benchmarks, you know, optimizing what I have in the HP depending on my item. And this is it, you know. And again, if there's something that you need to calc for on the ladder, then definitely do that. But what I do want to do actually is go back here and just fix out the terrestrialization stuff. So with the Mungus, I do want to be Terra Water, just so that I can better take those fire type attacks. Skeledirge can stay as grass. Rotom Electric is good. Ground Terra on Garchomp. Steel Grimmsnarl, and flying type Kingambit. So okay, we do have it. So now I can re-upload that. So here it is. Now I will show you a test battle with this, because this is our first version of the template for Kingambit Balance. After the test battle, then I'll show you the alternate variant. Well, I still apply the template, but show you a different build, and then actually give you the template where I write it out for you. So this way you can follow it and either use one of these two teams, min and max, or use some other options, but still following the template. All right, so let's take a look at a quick sample battle here. All right, we're matched up here. This is a recap battle. So again, I'm back on the Teal Pens 1 team building account. So we're playing against this guy Echoes here. He's got a Bombasnosa Titan Snow team, all right, along with Annihilate stuff with the Gothitelle. So there could be Parasong here. There could be Hypnosis stuff. Trick Room stuff, of course, is an option. He's got a cool team, actually. I would imagine this Titan is, of course, Terra Water. They generally are just there to help against the fire weakness. And again, the Hydreigon here can pose a bit of a threat here, but again, we have the faster dragon, we have Grimmsnarl here. I don't think the Hydreigon comes here, but I can definitely see the snow combo here trying to overwhelm us. All right, it does well into our Garchomp, our Amoonguss, even our Skeledirge to a degree, but we do have Kingambit, and I think Kingambit can do well here. He does have the Rotom, so he probably has to bring that. So I think he has to bring the Snow Boys and Rotom and a +1, and whichever one, you know, it all depends. But generally, my game plan here is if he's going for like the speed stuff or the Trick Room stuff, either way, Grimmsnarl must come as a lead. You know, you want to slow the game down a little bit, or if it is slow, take advantage of it and set up the screens. And then either Kingambit or one of my other options can come in the back and sweep. All right, but because I think he's going to lead either the Gothitelle stuff or the Snow stuff, I do want to lead the Kingambit. So this way, I have that option for him. All right, so I'm going to go with Grimmsnarl, Kingambit as a lead. And he's going to go with Abomasnow and Gothitelle. All right, so this tells me a couple things. One, I know this Titan is in the back. All right, and then two, he's probably going to want to set up either like Trick Room, Fake Out, maybe Hypnosis, and then he probably just wants to set up the Veil. The Blizzard spam is not a whole lot of importance here. And then, you know, he just has to have the Rotom, right? Like, it's not like guaranteed, but like it's got to be Titan and Rotom, because otherwise, how does he beat the Kingambit, right? So that's what I'm thinking. So I'm just gonna simply set up my screens here if he does do it. All right, but he does go for the Fake Out first, trying to stop my Kingambit. Yeah, I go for Light Screen, he goes for Aurora Veil, right? So the reason why I went for Light Screen is because just to cover for the Blizzard stuff, if he decided to definitely go for it. This way I force the Fake Out from the Gothitelle, right? So now I do have Steel type pressure against the Abomasnow. Again, he does have the Veil up, and he's a physically bulky mod because he gets +1. On the defensive end, but that's okay, right? Any good chip damage I can get up the Kingambit is good. The Gothitelle, you know, it's at the mercy of the Kingambit. We have a Dark type move, so Kingambit's in a really good spot here. All right, so he goes into Rotom, probably trying to tank the Steel move or the Dark move from the Kingambit, but he goes for Blizzard, and luckily for him, he gets the freeze. So that's unfortunate for me because I was going to click an attack move on the Abomasnow. The Rotom is also interesting, I guess, because he wants to get in a position, but, you know, he was willing to take the Dark hit, and then in the next turn, you know, put pressure with, like, overheat stuff, right? But because he froze me, now he's in a really good spot. This is, like, either free overheat or free nasty plot, and the Abomasnow can pretty much just do whatever it wants. Just keep continuing to spam Blizzard. All right, so I am frozen here, yeah, see, there's a free nasty plot, but I can, again, simply just Spirit Break it just to keep it in check. You know, just so that you know, I don't have to like die immediately. I do have the light screen, so even if he went for overheat there, I probably would have been okay, just because, you know, I have an assault vest along with the light screen. And there's another blizzard spam, and unfortunately for me, fortunately for me, I do thaw and I do get off an Iron Hand, which is actually really nice. So that's good. I was able to thaw, and again now I do have something against the Rotom. Again, it's still on the field, still having fire pressure against my Kingambit. So I'm gonna make a nice little play here. All right. And again, he goes for nasty plot. That's fine. More chip damage on the Abomasnow, so I do want to remove it. But he goes for Blizzard, and guess what? You know, he's lucky, and he freezes me again. So, all right. And again, he's gonna say like, you know, he's doubly sorry, but you know, it is what it is. It is the game we play, and now he's gonna get this Titan in position because he realizes, okay, my snow's running out. I need to get the Abomasnow out of here. I don't want it to die just yet. I want to be able to reset the snow if the time comes, just in case, you know, Rotom can't get the job done. But I'm going to go into Skeledirge here because I know he's going to go for the overheat, which he does right there. All right. And now we chip him again with the Spirit Break. So now, because he overheated, he went back to neutral and we got off the Spirit Break. So now he's -1. Good work from Grimmsnarl here. And now I know what's coming. I know he's going to try for the Terra Water and go for the Skeledirge kill. Just in case, I did want to respect him and go for the fire move here. But realistically, you know, this is an easy play where he just switches out the Rotom into the Abomasnow, get the speed boost back, reset the hail. Rotom, you know, removes the debuff. And I should have called this, but, you know, instead I got half of the read right. Okay, so there's the switch. Yep, this was obvious. I should have read this, but I read half of it. So there's the water. Here's the grass. I do get the reflect. I'm able to take the Titan hit. He crits me, so he froze me twice, then he crit me again. Torch Song, I'm able to get my special attack boost going, so that's really nice. All right, and now I set up the light screen just to help me against the Abomasnow. Again, Ice Spinner, really good damage, but again, because I have the reflect and I have a bulky Skeledirge, I'm able to take that, and I do get to remove the Abomasnow, which is actually really nice. And I did go before, which is also pretty cool. All right, so no more snow for him. I do get a little bit of leftovers recovery. Here comes the Rotom. Now the Skeledirge technically did its job. I'm okay now. All right, I do have Garchomp and Kingambit in the back. They're free to do the job, but again, the Rotom is still here. But again, Garchomp can very simply handle it. So I'm gonna let the Skeledirge go down here. That's fine. And again, I'm just gonna keep chipping the Rotom here. He does go for Will-O-Wisp. That's fine. Just keeping it at -1, you know, just in case he does try to like go for nasty plot stuff. But again, Kingambit here trying to get out of this freeze here. I do go for Sucker Punch. So during the time of testing, I did have Sucker Punch. Just wanted to get a little bit of chip damage on this Titan. Could have also chipped the Rotom, but here's the Babiri Berry coming in clutch against the Heavy Slam, you know, which is something that they do run. So this is also why you run the Babiri Berry. There's the nasty plot. This is where like maybe Tom would have came in handy, but I digress. There's the Ice Spinner removing the Grimmsnarl, so good for him. And I do live this overheat, which is actually very important. So the Assault Vest with the light screen, really clutch, even if the Rotom was +1. So I'm very happy with our spread and our Assault Vest, because if I didn't have that special defense investment, I might have dropped. So I like that we did live there. All right, and I am able to thaw, and I'm able to get off a Kowtow Cleave. And remember, I have Sucker Punch pressure, so that's also really nice. And the snow is gone. And there's the Titan drops, and then Garchomp is clicking single target Rock Slide, Life Orb. There it is. The Rotom drops. He just has the Gothitelle in the back, and we just pretty much clean up in the game. The Gothitelle cannot beat the Kingambit and the Garchomp. So, you know, well played by my opponent. He froze me twice. He crit me once, but with proper positioning, and thankfully we thought out, we're able to prevail it again. But you saw that the screens helped, right? The screens helped. We made a defensive pivot into the Skeledirge. We took the Rotom attack. We preserved the Kingambit for the end game. And in the end, we were just in a better position overall to just take the win. So, you know, that's how you have to play the team. So now what we're going to do, we're going to show you an alternate version using this same template that I was talking about in the beginning of the video. And then we'll show you the actual template. All right, so let's take a look. Okay, so we're going to remove 2 options, but keep the others relatively the same, but maybe adjust the sets a little bit. We're going to keep Kingambit, Grimmsnarl, Amoonguss, and Skeledirge. Instead, we're going to choose Hydreigon as our other dragon option rather than the Garchomp. And then for our water option, we're going to choose, believe it or not, Quaquaval, which I think is actually really nice right now. It's been topping a couple of tours recently. And I think this mod is actually pretty good. So now you have like good viability from the starters. Originally, when I was like covering these 3 starters in like the spotlight videos, I said they weren't great. Now they're actually pretty good just because of the way the meta is right now. So Quaquaval gets Moxie, all right, which is actually really, really important. If you can just pick up KOs immediately and then just potentially steal roam teams. And then you do have screens over here. You can always hide behind the Amoonguss just spamming like Aqua Steps, which I think is actually really nice because you can, just get speed control just inherently just like that. But again, with the Hydreigon instead of the Garchomp, that changes the Kingambit a little bit. We don't have to go with the Terra Flying option anymore. I'll show you what you can do. But the idea is more or less the same. You go with a 2-2-2 combination, right? You have Kingambit and you have Quaquaval. These are your 2 physical hitters. And then, with Skeledirge and Hydreigon, these are your 2 special attackers. All right. And then you have Grimmsnarl and Amoonguss. You have your 2 support options. So 2 special attackers, 2 physical attackers, 2 support options, right? In the other team, with the Garchomp stuff, same idea. You had Garchomp and you had Rotom. So Garchomp and Kingambit, 2 physical options. Rotom, Skeledirge, 2 special attack options. Amoonguss, Grimmsnarl, 2 supportive bulky options. Same kind of formula, same kind of template, right? But over here, with Hydreigon, what we're going to do is actually present a little bit of speed control on this because with the Garchomp team, it relied on bulk and a little bit of priority stuff, and then you just play behind the bulk. But with the Hydreigon here, we're going to put the Life Orb here on the Hydreigon, but we're going to go with a Tailwind set. All right, so this way you can get a little bit of speed control, which is actually really nice. But Draco Meteor, and then Dark Pulse for your 2 Dragon Stabs. And then over here, I do like Terra Blast. You can go for Protect if you really like Protect. I think it's always really nice to have to go for Protect on a Life Orb set. But I do like Terra Poison on this type of team. In the past, I would like the Assault Vest Terra Fire option with Hydreigon to be able to put pressure on Goldengos, Meowscaradas. But because we have a Skeledirge here behind screens, I feel like that's covered. Instead, I want to focus a little more on the Fairy stuff just because, the Quaquaval gives you another like added weakness to the Fairy stuff because you have that fire type, that fighting typing, I should say. So what we can do is, have this Terra Blast and cover it. And the poison is actually really nice in terms of, both an offensive and a defensive coverage set. All right, but anyway, so that's the set here. And then Quaquaval, Aqua Step close combat. So now you have something else to break against the steel types. Before it was just like Garchomp and, Skeledirge, but now we also have the close combat here. Really, really nice. Also good against potential dark types. So we have that option. And then over here, you have a few options. Ice Spinner is really nice. You get good ice coverage. Ice is a very nice offensive typing. Good against the dragons, good against flying types, good against grass stuff. So you have that option. But if you want a little bit more of a speed control move, that's a stab move, I should say. I think low sweep is also really nice. So with low sweep, you can drop speed by 1. So if you need to click something and get speed control, definitely low sweep is a good option. But if you want the ice coverage, Ice Spinner is perfectly fine, along with Protect in the last slot. I think both are really, really good. All right, and then over here, just to like make sure Intimidate has no effect on your team, just put the Amulet here. All right, and just like Kingambit Defiant, Quaquaval, Moxie, good lead. Intimidate does nothing. So there you go. If they decide to bring it, you're totally fine. In terms of like EV spreads now with the Hydreigon, so generally, I just like to go modest, and then just you could go max speed here if you want, or you could just go with like a bulky set and just go with like 138, just to outspeed Goldengo, that are modest max speed. All right, and then from here you could just like go with the EV bump here with 187 in terms of your special attack boost, and then you have 156 EVs left to play with. You can just invest in a little bit more bulk like this, with going up to 179, or you can go to 189. Actually, can I go to? No, I can't go to 189. So I just go to 179 here, and then just honestly 1 point in the bulk like this. And if you want, you can just add more speed if you want, or you can just finish it off with like more attack like this, which is totally fine. This is just like a speed tier where you're just trying to outspeed Goldengo, max special attack, and then the rest just went into optimization with the Life Orb. Or if you just want to go like a straight up timid set, if you just want to do this, where you just like max speed, max speed Hydreigon, and then you just have like right here just to round out your special attack right here, just to have 1 point in defense and special defense. This is also okay if you want to do it like this, or if you want to go back to modest, but max speed modest, and then just have like 30 EV bump here in special attack. You can definitely do this, and then just split up your bulk within your defense and special defense, something like this, for example. Or you could just do this. Yeah, just go up to here with special attack, and then you could even do this, right? So it's really up to you. But for the sake of the video, I think what I'll do is I'll just go max speed modest. Yeah, that's okay. I'll do that, so this way I can outspeed other Hydreigons that are not max speed, modest. So I'll just leave it like this for now. And then from here, the Quaquaval, I'm gonna be a little bit more bulky, but I'm still gonna be like adamant natured. And the whole idea with Quaquaval is I'll go adamant nature here, and then my investment is gonna be 196. All right, right here, 130. Okay, and the idea here is if you're running with Aqua Set, right, where you get a speed boost, what are some threats to Quaquaval? I'm already thinking like Quaquaval, right? That's like the fastest electric user. And if you can outspeed that, then you can just pick up a KO and just go first. So what's 130 times 1.5? And again, that'll get you to 195. And again, how did I know to go to 130? Very simply, if you just go back here, if you just put in like, just Quaquaval right here, and you can just go like max speed timid, you see that it hits 194. So you just need your Quaquaval to go to 195 after an Aqua Step. So what's 195 divided by 1.5? If you just do that math, right, this is how you figure out speed tiers, right? 195 divided by 1.5 comes out to 130, and that's all you need to outspeed the Quaquaval after a +1 boost. So back to the team over here. All right, we're right here, Kingambit spread V2. So 130 over here. Oh wait, no, this is already done. Yeah, I already prepped it beforehand. Where are we? Oh yeah, here we go. So then from here, where do I want to go? I just want to go to like maybe the second bump here. I believe it's going to be 176 right here. So you see 156 investment. Really nice. Also matches up with the Moxie boost. Then for HP, just have enough where like 175 might be all I need. Even 176 is okay. 175 is okay. Just to optimize the sand chip. So again, divided by 16, this will optimize it. Then you have 40 EVs left to play with. You could just put 1 point in defense, and you can just put the rest in special defense. But if anything, you can just put a little bit more into attack like this, and then just make sure it's a nice even number. So this way, after the Moxie boost, you're just kind of chilling, right? So definitely consider something like this if you want. By the way, where is the third bump? I just want to see where the third bump is. It at 196? I don't think so. Yeah, it's not. So I'm just gonna keep it at 180. Okay, so again, we just optimized our HP for like sand chip damage. The speed tier is for outspeeding Quaquaval after +1, and then the rest is pretty much just into the attack stat, rounded with a nice even number, so this way we can optimize the Moxie boost. Notice again, we have some even numbers in the speed, just so that after an Aqua Step, it's a nice whole number. All right, so this is the alternate version. And again, if you don't like some of these moves, like if you want Protect here, that's fine. If you want the low sweep here, that's also okay. I feel like with Aqua Step, you're already getting like speed here anyway. Yeah, but if you just want another one, then yeah. But I feel like Ice Spinner is just a little bit better of a move coverage here. So, all right, so we'll upload this. So now we have two versions. This one's with Hydreigon Quaquaval, and then this one over here is with Garchomp Rotom. But the one thing I do want to say, actually, let me go back here. Let me remove this. The Kingambit spread, actually, we don't need to go Terra Flying anymore. If anything, because this was like good synergy with Garchomp. And if you still want to keep it as Terra Flying, just for like the opposing Garchomp, you can. But what you can do now is just like opt for a little bit more damage with like your dark stuff. You can go for Protect here, and then over here, you can go for Lumberry. So that way you don't get frozen like I did in that sample game. Or at least like, being able to remove the Abomasnow. And then you can go with the Lumberry over here. Or if you want a little bit more damage with your Ironhead, Kowtow / Sucker Punch, then you can go with Black Glasses, just so that your dark type damage just has a little bit more oomph attached to it. So you're free to do this if you want, and then you can just go like Terra Dark with this option, right? So this way, even though you don't have the Garchomp here, now you just have like extra damage going for you right here. So yeah, now this is the second version. Again, Terra Water, yeah, that's correct. Okay, so you know, Kingambit Dark variant, and again, if you want Sucker Punch on Grimmsnarl, sure, I put Taunt here. You're free to do that. If you want Protect here on your Hydreigon, also you can consider that. But again, more or less the same formula. So there's our second version. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the template written out. So this way you have the template yourself and you can min-max your own Kingambit Balance squad. All right, so let's take a look. All right, here we are. We're back to Google Slides here. So I could use Notepad. I know others have used Notepad. I know Joe and Neil like to use Notepad. I like Google Slides just because. All right, so Kingambit Balance team building formula. Here's our template. So when we say balance, just to like kind of define it, you know, generally we're referring to having the two big VGC cores. All right, you want your Fire, Water, Grass. All right, and your Fantasy core, your Dragon, Fairy, your Dragon, Fairy, Steel core, right? So that's what balance means. You know, you don't necessarily have to have screens. It helps, but not necessarily. As long as you have like these two flexible cores, that's what we mean by a balanced squad. All right. So number one, along with Kingambit, you want to pick a fairy option. So in this build, we picked Grimmsnarl, but you're free to choose other fairy options, right? I've seen Sylveon as another good fairy option. So you don't have the bulk, but you get a little bit more offense with the Sylveon. You can go with a Azumarill, which also fulfills the water type of the team. So then you get another extra option if you need it. All right, these are like three popular fairy options at the moment. Gardevoir could be, but I feel like that's better on like Garchomp, Talonflame, Gyarados teams. So I don't know if it's like best here. But you know, if you want to try it, you're free to try it. But I think these are the three best options. All right, then you got to go with your Meta Dragon choice. All right, so usually that's either going to be the Hydreigon or the Garchomp. All right, pick one of the two. Both work. Then for your fire type option, all right, so you have something like Skeledirge, all right, which we use. You can also do Volcarona, which is actually really nice. Instead of Meta, Volcarona gets Tailwind, and it gets a bunch of other support moves like Will-O-Wisp, and then Rotom Heat is another one. And then in some cases, you can go like the Ceruledge as the fire option, or the Armarouge, right, with the latter getting access to Trick Room. But the first three, I believe, are like better options, especially if you choose like Garchomp. You know, Skeledirge or Rotom is actually really nice. Volcarona also really good again, but it's up to you. Grass type. So with grass, I just like, you know, either the offensive or the defensive option. And if you do go with Volcarona, then you also have Terra Grass because you can just go like Giga Drain on the Volcarona. So you can do like an offensive defensive option. You can go with the Amoonguss like we did in our video. Or you can go a little bit more offensive with the Meowscarada. But I feel like if you go Meowscarada, you have to do Grimmsnarl because you need a way to like, you know, stall the Trick Room stuff and be able to at least mitigate some of that damage that they're going for because they have priority. So if you do Meowscarada, I feel like Grimmsnarl has to be there. But if you do Amoonguss, then, you know, you don't have to do Grimmsnarl necessarily. All right. Water type. All right. Rotom Wash is really nice. Again, the Azumarill, of course. Gyarados can be good, but has fallen off recently, but still okay. All right, but I also like, and again in the second build, even before Gyarados, I do like the, well, what's it for? The Quaquaval. Quaquaval. All right, that's pretty good as a water option. Can you use Palafin? Yeah, you can, I guess. Like it can do okay behind the screens and repivot. So if you like Palafin, okay, you know, I'll buy it. But I feel like that's good on like Pelipper Rain teams right now. And then finally, as a last side note, not like as another option, but like you want to make sure you have an even distribution of the attackers, right? The special attackers, all right, and then support, right? So I like to call it the 2-2-2 formula, all right? So again, you know, you saw it here with the Garchomp. Well, this is the Hydreigon one. So Hydreigon, Skeledirge, 2 special attackers. Kingambit, Quaquaval, 2 physical attackers. Then Grimmsnarl, Amoonguss is your defensive backbone. And then over here, you have Garchomp and Kingambit as your 2 physical attackers. Skeledirge and Rotom Wash as the special attackers. And then the two support options is the Grimmsnarl and the Movesets, right? So, but yeah, that's it. This is a pretty straightforward balanced team building formula. Like whether it's Garchomp Balance, Kingambit Balance, something Balance, this is how you go about it. You want to just focus the team on having flexible type distributions. Usually it's the Fire, Water, Grass, Dragon, Fairy, Steel combination. And that's really what it is in terms of building a squad, right? So now you have my template. So now hopefully this will open your eyes a little bit as far as like team building is concerned. And you know, I want to try and make one of these two teams a rental. I'm gonna have a little bit of trouble because it's always been a little bit of a trouble so far with the Terra Shards. So if you're willing to help me out and make one of these teams into a rental, that would be very much appreciated. But other than that, I'm gonna have to struggle and make one of them into a rental. But I'm gonna do my best. So this way you have the rental. It's a pretty fun squad. Like who doesn't want to use Kingambit, right? So definitely want to consider it. I think it's a pretty good squad either way, whether you go with Garchomp or Hydreigon options. But yeah, and again, if this is something you're interested in with me privately, again, if you want to do a team building session, again, check the video description in the videos with all of them. It's a tier 3 sub to the channel. So if you're trying to go to San Diego in January and if you need a little bit of team building help, or if you got your own tournament that you're trying to enter, you need a little bit of team building help, book a session with me. Again, in the video description, you know, you can click the join button. Or if you have a squad yourself and you just need me to fix it up a little bit, that's a tier 2 sub to the channel. Same idea, we can meet and talk on Discord and then just fix it up from there. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully you found it informative, and hopefully you now have a nice working template that you can use, you know, pretty much forever. All right, so we'll be back in another video, guys, in the next one. Peace out and have a good night.